Okay, welcome WIS Rising 11th graders. In this video, we're going to give you a brief introduction to the four IB math courses. And these math courses have been around since really 2019. The first assessment was in 2021, but some of us still call them the new math courses, although they're not that new anymore. What's the purpose of taking IB math? It's really this. We don't want you living in our basement as parents, and you don't want to live in your parents' basement yourself. So get some skills from IB Math, and we'll prevent that from happening. So this is what happened back in 2019-ish. In the old regime of IB Math, there were three math courses: higher level, standard level, and something called mathematical studies standard level, but people just call that math studies. What the IB did is they separated these three math courses into four math courses, and they're taught at higher level and standard level. So there's a course called Math Analysis and Approaches right there, and that's taught at both higher level and standard level. And then there's another course called Math Applications and Interpretation, and that is also taught at both higher level and two standard level. So we went from one HL and two SLs, and one was kind of like an SL light, if you will, to two HLs and two SLs. Really two different courses that they've morphed into four different courses here. Okay, and why did they make these changes? Well, there were really two big reasons why they did it. One, they wanted to increase the equity and access to HL math, and I'll show you a slide about that. The next slide will talk about that. And second, they wanted to ensure that the concepts and teaching methods reflect the current view of desired skills and best practices. And they did that by reaching out to colleges and universities and what have you to talk about that. So here's what I mean about equity and access. This is some data from 2019, and these are the percentage of students who took an IB exam at higher level by subject. So you can see most, I mean, people who take English and history, right? More than 3/4 of the people were taking it at higher level. And even most of the courses were kind of, somewhere around 50% or so or higher. But look at dear old mathematics was right down here, somewhere between 15 and 20% of the people. And people could say, oh, well, that's because math is a hard subject. Well, that's gobbledygook, right? Look at physics. No one would argue that physics is an easy subject, right? Or economics. No one would argue those are, or chemistry or computer science. And all of those had an uptake into HL, 2, 3, 4 times as much as math. So the IB recognized they had a problem on math. And so that's why, that was a big reason why they made the change, right? Now, if you look at WIS, in this period, when the rest of the world was taking higher level math somewhere around that green line, we were still normally above average, I guess, compared to the world. And that's not surprising because WIS is a pretty competitive school and our students have always done better than the all world average and la-di-da-di-da, right? But look what happened after the change was made. I'm sorry, look what happened at WIS after the change was made. So the blue bar represents the percentage of students who are taking math at a higher level. And ever since we've made the change, roughly half of the students at WIS have chosen to take math at higher level, either applications or analysis SL, compared to before, maybe a quarter of the students were taking it. So we've about doubled the uptake into HL math, which I think is a wonderful thing that's happened at WIS. And I don't know if that's happened globally, but I assume that those global averages for the IB have increased as well. Okay, and then here are the concepts that are taught in all of the courses, right? And I know most people who don't know anything about math think, oh, it's just arithmetic, right? It's just calculation, right? But no, these are the main concepts, right? The concepts of, and these are present in all four of the courses, The concepts of approximation, change, equivalence, generalization, that's a biggie, modeling, patterns, quantity, relationships, representations, space, systems, and validity. So those are the main concepts. And in the class, we're increasing our focus on investigations and inquiry, right? And these courses have built in some time to allow us to do that, both with the mathematical exploration and in some of the classwork where we go through some investigations. Okay, so here are the courses, and here are the descriptions right from the IB themselves. What the heck is math analysis and approaches? Right, this is a course intended for people who want to wish to pursue studies in mathematics in university, right? Or subjects that have a large mathematical content, think engineering and physical sciences, right? It's for students who enjoy developing mathematical arguments, problem solving, and exploring real and abstract applications, that's important, with and without technology. Okay, so that's the analysis course. That is what I would call a traditional mathematics course. That's been taught for years and years and years. All right, so what the heck is this animal called math applications and interpretations, right? This course is designed for students who enjoy describing the real world and solving practical problems using mathematics, right? It's for those who are interested in harnessing the power of technology alongside exploring mathematical models and enjoy the more practical side of math. So if you're the kind of student who asks, when am I ever going to use this stuff? That is probably a good hint that you are a person who would enjoy the math applications course a little bit more than the math analysis course. All right. Are the courses completely different? No, they're not, right? You'll see a detailed mind map of topics in room A08 at WIS, but there are 60 hours, this football here in the middle, there's 60 hours of content that is shared with all four courses, Now, the SL courses are 150-hour courses, and the HL courses are 240-hour courses. These are what's called the recommended teaching hours by the IB. So if you think about, let's do analysis first. If I think about these common topics, right, these 60 hours are taught in all four courses. And then this area right here, this red crescent that I'm drawing, that is the 90 hours of additional analysis and approaches content, right? Now, the interesting thing is, if you look at the HL course, the SL course is a complete subset of the HL course. So there's 60 hours in here, right? There's 90 hours in here. And then there's an additional 90 hours of content that's only taught in the HL analysis course. So these 60 hours are taught in all four courses. These 90 hours are taught in the analysis SL and analysis HL course. And these 90 hours are taught only in the analysis HL course. And similarly, on the other side of the spectrum here, there's the SL, the applications course has the same breakdown, right? So I shouldn't do that in purple. So there's 90 hours right here that's taught in the applications SL course that doesn't appear in either analysis course. All right, that's important to recognize. There are things taught in, for instance, applications SL that aren't even taught in analysis at HL, right? Some of them are similar, but not completely. An example is like chi-squared test of goodness of fit. Doesn't even appear in analysis HL, but it appears in applications SL. Okay, so those 90 hours are for applications HL, and then SL, and then that course is a complete subset of the applications HL course. So there's 90 additional hours of content in the applications HL course that isn't taught in the applications SL course. And of course, these 90 hours are found only in the applications HL course, right? So you might think, 90 hour, how does that, if you think about it, the SL course, right, at 150 hours and the HL course at 240 hours, that's the recommended teaching content. We get one extra period per cycle, and there's 44 cycles in 2 years, but really you don't do them all because senior year ends a little early. We get about 40 extra contact hours, if you will, in HL versus SL. but we have to cover 90 hours of content. So you can see that the pace of the HL course is necessarily faster than the pace of the SL course, right? Because we don't have enough extra time to do all 90 hours squeezed into 40 hours. So that means the pace of the SL course should feel very comfortable to you because you sort of have extra time to do it, where the pace of the HL course is going to feel like you're running on a treadmill a little bit. Okay, this is a good chart which just shows you there's 5 strands in each of the 4 IB math courses. These strands are number and algebra, functions, geometry and trigonometry, statistics and probability, and calculus. And all 4 courses have all content from all 5 strands. However, the quantity and the distribution of that content is what makes the courses different. So you can see if you compare applications SL with applications HL, every one of these bars, there's more content in the HL course because the SL course is a complete subset of the HL course. Same thing for analysis at SL versus HL. Every one of the bars is bigger, taller in the HL course than the SL course because the SL course is a complete subset of the HL course. However, the distribution of the content is pretty different, right? Let's just focus on the HLs because that's where the majority of the content is. You can see that the applications HL has a healthy dose of statistics and probability, much more than, for instance, either of the analysis courses do in that course, right? There's also a pretty healthy dose of calculus. However, the analysis SL, the analysis HL course has the most calculus in it, 55 hours versus 41. The analysis HL course also has the most amount of geometry and trigonometry in it, although the applications HL course has a good, healthy dose of it. And actually the trigonometry and geometry is different in the applications course than it is in the analysis course. It's not like they're just doing 5 extra hours. It's just the makeup within that box bar is different as well, right? Applications has a heavy dose of functions. That's because there's a fair amount of modeling, and modeling deals with functions. But whereas the analysis course has a bigger focus on number and algebra, right? Which is kind of, number theory and things like that that may have more abstract problem solving uses. So this is a great chart. I think this is the single best chart. If you had to focus on one chart, this is the single best chart to know, what's taught in each of these courses. All right, so how do you choose which one to take? This comes from the IB. Math Analysis and Approaches course is good for students interested in math, engineering, physical science, and some economics. Where applications is good for students interested in social sciences, natural sciences, medicine, statistics, business, engineering, that's interesting, it appears both places, some economics, that appears both places, psychology and design. So you can see there's a broader mix of topics that applications is recommended for. It's because, frankly, in the real world, most people are going to use statistics much more than they're going to use calculus. And that's the heavier dose on statistics and applications comes from it. Of course, for students who are really interested in quantitative, they're going into a heavily quantitative field, analysis and approaches. I'm thinking engineering here, engineering and physical science, and obviously math itself, right? Analysis would be the course to take. So what have our students chosen at WIS? I thought this is kind of interesting because it jumps around, right? The very first year, I was surprised by these numbers, right? We had the most number of people taking both analysis HL and applications SL. That's weird, right? And the one that's shown the most variability, I guess, is applications HL. We had not quite 15 to 20% of our students take it, and then it jumped up to more than 20%. We had an off year in 2023 where very few people, for whatever reason, chose it, but then it's been probably the most popular, one of the more popular courses for the last 2 sections of students. I'm a little surprised I think this red bar, I would expect, and I've been wrong, I would have thought that this would have been kind of the most popular course to take because it's kind of like a good solid math course for people who aren't going to go into a quantitative major but want to have a great math background. Analysis SL, I think, is a good course for that. So how do universities view these courses? You need to talk to our college counselors. They are awesome and they are experts at how the universities are viewing these courses. I would say in the US, I don't want to take words out of their mouth, but my impression is as the universities have learned more and more about these courses, the US universities they just want you to take the most challenging course at your school, the most challenging math course that your school offers. Well, we offer both at higher level, and it seems like most universities in the US, they're indifferent between Applications HL and Analysis HL, right? Even for engineering, which I would argue Analysis HL is better. We've had people take Applications HL and go on to engineering school and have no problem at all. In the rest of the world, they're a little bit pickier in terms of which course you take. For instance, if you're going to want to go to Oxford or Cambridge and you want to be a math major or whatever, they're going to want you to take Analysis HL. They're not going to want to take you to take Applications HL. Right. So talk to Ms. Tudge and Ms. Yost. They are the experts at that. Now, let's just talk about how you're going to be assessed by the IB, right? By the IB. So at standard level, you will take two papers. They will both be 90 minutes. Both of these papers count for 40% of your mark. And then the IA, or what people call the IA, or the mathematical exploration, counts for 20% of your mark, right? What's the difference? Well, for the analysis course, paper one is a no calculator test. Paper two is a calculator test. And each test is broken into a section A and section B, where section A are short response questions and section B are long response questions, right? Now, the difference on applications, the applications paper one and paper two, you have a calculator on both tests. So they don't separate it into section A and section B. In the applications course, paper one is all the short response questions. So think of it as all section A. And paper B is all long response questions. Think about that as paper B, right? Or section B, sorry. And then both of the courses have a math exploration, which is an individual piece of work that you'll have to do. Now, that's standard level. For higher level, the breakdown of paper one, well, paper one, and there's still a paper one and paper two for higher level, right? The big difference is they're 2-hour exams instead of 1 hour and a half. They're 2-hour exams instead of hour and a half exams. The mix of the exams is identical to the standard level exams, but they only count for 30% of your grade instead of 40% of your grade, of your IB grade. So the extra 20% comes from this thing called paper three, which is a 1-hour exam. It's a calculator exam for both analysis and applications, and it's only 2 questions. 2. Now, there's multiple parts to these questions, but these are what they call extended response, and that's even longer than long response, right? So you got short, long, and then extended response. So this tends to be a pretty challenging test, and they both still have the IA. And so that in a nutshell is what the courses are about. Now, there's going to be 4 shorter videos that we're going to make, which specifically talk about the content of each of the 4 courses in a little bit more detail that's particular to that course. So take a look at those videos if you want to, if you looked at this thing and it's like, oh, I'm thinking about like Applications SL and Analysis SL, and I'm not sure how to pick between the 2 of those, then maybe you want to watch the 2 videos that will follow on those particular courses. Great. I'll see you later. Good luck on your selections.